Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, if you recognize her, it's because she was in your home for 4 years, Monday through Friday. She's an award-winning journalist, and now she's selling homes. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home. We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network. We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Well, folks, most of the time when I'm sitting on this anchor desk, I'm saying to my guests, no, don't be nervous. You're going to do fine. I don't need to do that to my next guest because Arita-Howard is in studio. And for many years, she was in your living room on CBS 11.
Oh, gladly.
And does this not feel like home?
Oh, it feels like home, absolutely. And I didn't even have to mic up or anything. Everything is so snazzy. I feel I feel like Oprah. I feel very special right now.
And no breaking news.
No breaking
tragedy,
news. No crazy things happening on a Friday night or early in the morning.
Well, we're actually on the show to talk about your career and the real estate market because you're doing very well in real estate. But I want to start with your news career. You had an amazing journey. Tell us about your career.
Oh, it's spanned about 30 years actually. So I started off as a jazz singer, and then I started doing television, the Dallas show, every kind of episodic series that you could think of that came through DFW in the 80s. You know, I had a part in. So I did that for a long time, and then I went to SMU, got my journalism degree. You know, the funny thing is I was very scared to submit my tapes to big interests in networks like Extra and E and all the news networks here because I thought, who am I? And I'm just going out of college. And somebody said, well, how do you know if you don't try? Cliff Freeman told me this, and it stuck in my head that no matter what it is you want to do, don't be afraid, because all you have to do is ask, and all that can happen is somebody says no or doesn't respond. But if you don't ASK, you don't GET. That applied way back then, and this person told me, who was on staff, he goes, well, I think you're fantastic. You have a little bit of a demo reel to show. You don't want to show all your television and film stuff, but why don't you go ahead and send that to Extra and E and all the... I got responded to by Extra, and I ended up doing a correspondent stint with Extra. I did a show for a short stint with E! News Daily, and this was immediately out of college. NBC picked me up as a reporter, and I really stunk. So I didn't know what I was doing at the time. You know, the technology, I just wasn't good with it. That's really what hurt me the most. And then fast forward, I ended up doing a national television show, which was Hispanics Today. It was like it was the Spanish or Spanglish version of 60 Minutes, and it was national. And so 3 days a week, I would fly out to I moved to New York for 2 years, and after that, 3 days a week, I'd fly not to New York, but to Washington, D.C. to report and do that show. And I helped sort of executive produce as well, sometimes in Washington on the Hill. So it was very political at that time.
Yes.
And I was exhausted just coming back and forth. And finally, when I landed, flat on my feet back in Dallas, oh, thank God I can breathe, I'm home, CBS calls. And I was like, oh God, back to work.
Okay, we've got a little video, and I want you to kind of narrate this because you were there Monday through Friday. What shows did you do?
I did the 4 o'clock news. Emmy Award winning. I'm very proud of that with Jody Jean. Jody is a superstar to me. He's very special to me. He one of the smartest guys I know. Just incredible anchor. Taught me probably a lot of what I learned there, if not most of it. He was I put my stiletto in his shoe many times.
Well, one of the things about television news, as you well know, is it teaches you to improvise, because sometimes the prompter goes down or it's breaking news and there is no script.
I got a terrible story about that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Well, it was during Hurricane Katrina, and it was my first breaking news story, and I had to take it because I was from New Orleans. So they were like, oh, great, you're the expert. 1, 2, 3, go. All the tapes went down. I had no reporters to toss to.
Wow.
Tossing to reporters is a good thing because they bring energy and they bring specifics that you don't have at the desk.
Yes.
You can't, they're there on the scene, ground zero. And it's also important because it gives you a chance to breathe and sort of do a little research while you can be, it's breaking, so nobody knows anything about anything without you doing that. And when you first get the news, you can't worry about makeup, nothing. You just have to mic up and get out there. And the lights went out in the studio.
Oh my goodness.
The tapes went down. I said, "Where's prompter?" Because I had written my whole intro. They go, "What prompter? Prompter's down, video's down, no reporters." Jody said, "Quick!" We unmiked. We ran to the bullpen, which is just it's a low light. It's the bullpen. It's where we actually crunch and do our work. And we stood up and then got to the middle of the floor. It felt like a slow motion movie that was a nightmare. That was where the cyclone is going all the way around you in slow motion, and he was holding on real tight, like just hold, just like a husband, an anchor husband. Hold on real tight. I'm gonna get you through this. And as soon as it started, and we just looked like we were on it, and then he was able to say a few things, and I took it over, and I was like, "Go away, I don't need you." No, I'm kidding.
How long did you guys do that without a prompter or reporters to toss to?
I mean, that went on for a good, I want to say 20, 30 minutes.
That is amazing.
You ever see the scene in broadcast news where the guy is sweating bullets, but he
Yes.
looks like he's trying to hold it? That was us.
And that's another clue to the viewer. If you ever hear the anchor saying recapping now, that means they have no more facts
Nothing
to
else to say. Have you ever heard a broadcast where it's breaking news and they've said this like 10 times? They're like, "Okay, I got it. You're in the front of the courthouse. It's in downtown Dallas."
So, oh my goodness. Okay, so
Fun
you
stuff.
leave TV news, and you had a couple other stops before real estate. I'm trying to remember.
So, before real estate, so it was just television, film. I did the national broadcast. I did Extra, and then it was the news. And after that, I became the public information officer for the commissioner's court in Dallas, which was like
Which is
27
another.
cities.
I mean, that's a
more
pressure
political
job.
in nature, very high pressure job.
Working with reporters who want answers. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was perfect because Dallas County needed a change in narrative at the time, and it was a huge ship to turn around all at once.
Sure.
So there was a lot involved with that, but I had a lot of fun and great respect for our commissioner's court.
Absolutely. Okay, tell us about real estate. How did you get into real estate?
So real estate, I blame you, Julie Bologna, and you can have her on.
We
she
need
was
to.
she
I
was she
would
was the
love to have her on.
meteorologist.
Yes, I remember her.
She was the meteorologist at CBS 11 when I was there, and a phenomenal talent. And
Yes.
just I've never seen her make a mistake. I mean, she's just Julie. You're perfect. Okay. Fantastic realtor, and she had been kind of dabbling in real estate before she left. And when I worked with you for a little bit
That's
because
right. That
I
was
needed
beautiful.
to find my sea legs after the news. That's how I defined myself my entire life as a broadcast talent. But I had also developed relationships with developers and land people, and so I thought, wow, if I can maybe learn up a little bit of production, because I wasn't a producer, I was the on-camera talent, and some editing skills and some social media skills, and understand the tech a little bit more, and advertising and PR and branding, then I'll be golden. I can do something. And then Julie calls me out of the blue, and she was doing real estate. So I went and I joined Keller Williams with her.
Mm-hmm.
I've since moved to EXP, and so has she. We moved at the same time, as a matter of fact. I now have begun my own little team. And so, it's a work in progress every day.
I love it. And we got reconnected last week at Cliff Freeman's event called the Next Gen Luxury event, right? Ooh. So we've got some pictures of Maria there with, who do we have in that shot?
Okay, so in the middle is Josh Altman,
$1 million
the $1 million listing, and I want to say billionaire because they all seem like billion. And then the guy to the right that looks like Motley Crue, he's a phenomenal person, by the way. I cannot tell you how real and genuine he is. They call him a philanthrocapitalist and real estate artist, and he is. I can explain that. That's a whole nother show. But that's Frank McKinney.
Yes, and he wrote an amazing book, and I saw long lines.
Aspire.
Of people waiting in line for his autograph. Let's show another video because I think this is Frank getting up on stage. A little standing ovation for him. So,
Did we hear the audio on that?
I think we have it softly in the background there. There's,
Oh, you got to hear. I
there's
mean, that
Frank.
is just. It was so loud in that room, and the energy was so unbelievable, and then, so he looks like a rock star, acts like one, but he has got one heck of a story to tell for how he started from, when I say less than zero, from nothing, and really built something, fearlessly did it. And here he was a teenager, sort of the outcast kind of kid, and look at him now.
And humble. I mean, he does look like a rock star, but very humble.
He's
humble
very
guy.
humble. When he talks to you, he's one of those kind of people that
Yes.
makes you feel like you're the only one in the room. So,
Now we have another clip, but you need to set this up first.
okay. Oh God. So we talk about Frank McKinney. Afterwards, we had a little bit of networking, a little social hour, and so I got up from my chair at the bar, talking to some of the other realtors, and I saw that Frank McKinney. And by the way, he made himself available even in the. Not everybody does that, but he was there. He didn't just jump a plane and leave. He's sitting there, and I was walking towards him because I wanted him to sign my book. And suddenly, I wobbled on my left foot, and he saw me from across the way, and he was like, "Maria!" and I wobbled, and here you go.
Video. He's it's going. It's already going.
All right, so at the Next Gen Symposium, Maria said I did such a good job that I blew her out of her shoe.
Literally.
Here we go. All
Oh,
right,
that
put
is
that
so
up.
good. Oh my God.
Go Frank McKinney on Instagram. Put it up, because I'll share it.
On Instagram. Blew me away.
Literally.
Basically, he's saying there his shining persona just blew my shoes off. It's a beautiful moniker for what happened. As I was walking towards him, I literally broke the thread in my shoes, and he was like,
Well,
"Whoa, that's a TV moment."
And I'm glad that we explained it because it did need a little setting up to see that shot.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful.
Good
Okay,
stuff.
so I want to talk about your real estate career and what you bring to it because we were talking before the show. A lot of people can sell homes, but it's personal. When somebody is moving on to a different property or downsizing, or maybe there's a divorce, I mean, you are really there with them sometimes at a very personal time in their life.
Very personal indeed. I'll make this quick. So my very first client, my very first listing was out way north in North McKinney. And it was a young couple, and she was about to be go to law school. And they'd never done this before. They bought, but they never sold before. And we were not in a seller's market. And before, when I met them, it was at an open house. And I've always felt, I've never been a salesperson, so when I'm at an open house, I know that somebody's just coming through, they're taking a look, they're trying to have a little fun with it. They don't know exactly what the process is going to be. They're meeting you and talking to you for the first time. They'd like to not be sold on anything. They'd like to know, do you have my back? Would you have my back? They don't want to hear about all the shining things in your background and how much of a superstar you are and all that. And the first thing I asked her was, where do they live now, and what drove them to that house? Why did they pick it in the first place? And as they talked about their life, I just kind of leaned in and I said, I got to see this house. Can I don't want to just invite myself to your house, but real estate aside, I'd love to see your home and how you. And actually, if you did decide to work with me, I really would. It would help me a lot if I could see what you like and how you live, what's important to you. So fast forward when I went to do my listing presentation to her, and she said, I want you to know that we have been looking at other realtors as well, but you're really, really strong, and we'll let you know tomorrow. When they decided yes, she said the reason was because she felt like we probably talked to 15 different real estate agents during, the course of a couple of months. And we chose you because you're the only one that thought that it was important to know more about my family, not just the house, and asked us if you could come see our house.
Wow.
Not just for real estate purposes, but
Yes.
you wanted to meet our daughter, you wanted to see the house. Yeah.
I can see why you're so successful. As I was creeping
It's
on
important.
your social media,
Creeper.
I found an amazing testimonial. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Maria was the best realtor we've ever worked with. She truly has our interest at heart, and it showed. She looked at, she found other properties that we didn't even know about and went to the nth degree trying to get our needs met. Okay.
She was always very available. Whenever we tried to fit our tough schedules together, she made it to where she was there for us. She did a lot of research. She let us do some research, and she would follow up on those. Very knowledgeable, very capable and reliable in the business that she knows. She is a consummate professional, but she was caring and took care of us, and she understood what our family needed.
She had the eye for detail. She asked us what our individual needs were, how they would be met. She did her best to make that happen.
And would we recommend her? 105%.
Completely.
110%, excuse me.
I'm so glad I love them. I'm glad you found that. Because that's what it's all about. That's why, that's what makes me happy.
And people can feel your energy. People can feel somebody who's a
I love them.
fast-talking salesperson. They can feel somebody who really cares, and you care.
Yeah, and you do your research, and you give them the best possible advice that they could get, and go from there. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we've only got about a minute left. Let's
Yeah, I
talk
know.
about the market, and what do you see right now for the market?
Well, it's hard to project exactly what's going to happen because we're in such volatile times. Everybody knows we've been in this extremely red-hot sellers market now for over a year and a half. And it's actually, our market in DFW is really holding steady right now. The median list price in Collin County, for instance, is about $625,000. Just 3 months ago, that was about $540,000. And we only have 1,800 houses on the market in Collin County, just as an example on a micro level to tell you. So, and demand is still strong, but we are seeing a softening in that demand because the market is always about economic movement. It's always about inventory, and we have a little bit more inventory now because it's the spring, summer sell season now, so obviously, and it's also about buyer demand. So demand is really slowing a bit. We're seeing that. So between the demand slowing down because of the interest rates rising and gas prices and all of that, and the inventory coming back, we expected actually a lowering and a decrease in prices as well. But for some strange reason, the prices are still holding very steady in DFW. But I am able now to actually make offers that aren't 50 or 100 grand over asking plus the pony.
Yes. I agree. I think just the cooling off of the market just a little bit, and DFW is a fairly recession-proof town that if we look back at 2008 or another downturn, it never went like this. It was never a crash. It just kind of plateaued.
Yeah, we've traditionally been a market that's been kind of bulletproof to that kind of stuff. And I think because the way that it's developed, the way it's laid out, there are many facets to DFW, and it's vast. But the good news is, like I said, I am now in a position, especially with the tools that I have, to be able to make cash offers for my buyers, even if they don't think that they can be a cash buyer. We use a fund for that, and they pay them back. There's no lender fees, no administrative fees, and we've been able to make it through the market for people who had been priced out of the market prior to that, and they're made whole. So it's actually good news.
I want you guys to reach out to Maria. She's going to knock your shoes off. So we're going to end.
Blow them right off.
We're going to end with your website, which is mariahoward.exprealty.com. Maria, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
Fun.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.